Welcome one and all to part 4 of the gym tour review. You guys, I'm excited to show you what we got going on today. We're going to be starting over here, and I'm going to be introducing you to our multi-use machinery. Yes, okay, let's start right here. So this is a multi-use machine. It's one of the first ones that I ever purchased for the gym. I knew I wanted to have equipment that would have really small footprints with really high functionality, stuff that doesn't just do one movement. This is a perfect example of something that fits that description. So leg extension and hamstring curl are usually both their own individual machine in a place like LA Fitness or any really commercial gym where they have the space to just kind of compartmentalize all machines based on one muscle group. This machine is made by Elite FTS. It's obviously a custom coloration, powder coating, everything they did to my specifications, which was great. The machine itself is their first model. They've since come out with, I think, 2 more where they have attachments at the bottom for bands. They have the ability to adjust this seat up and down based on the angle of where you're at. So there have been certainly some updates to this model, but this is the Elite FTS leg extension and leg curl combination plate-loaded machine, and it's awesome. This particular setup is a bit customized by myself. So if you can see under here, I've got a small rack that I had custom made, which allows me to store plates in this location to be loaded here, but also for several other machines that are plate loaded similar to this location. I've got my leg press over here to my right. I've got the T-bar row combination that we went over in the last video. And then I've got also the hack squat, which we'll get to in a second. Point being, I needed a place around here where I could put weight, and there was this gap that underneath I saw the opportunity. I met with a fabricator and we came up with this. But when you see it from the distance, it looks like it's all one built up machine, and in fact it's 2. So that's what I've got going on here. Elite FTS, I'm going to talk about quite a bit in this video because they're responsible for quite a lot of the stuff we're going to see. They're awesome. And Matt Goodwin, the guys over there that do fabrication and actually build their equipment, are very knowledgeable, and they can make just about anything you can ever conceive. So I give them a lot of credit. So that's this machine. Now we're going to transition over here and talk about the low pulley roll lat pull down combination machine, also by Elite FTS. So again, this is a machine with a dual purpose. It doesn't just do one movement or even 2 movements. It's got quite a few different options and alternatives that you can incorporate. As a trainer, learning how to use cables properly is one of the most important things you'll do when training. Cables provide a just constant tension. They are really good for functional movement patterns or isometric movement patterns, PT, just all sorts of different applications. This particular model, like this one, the one we just talked about, came in custom coloration and came in the actual size that I needed for this particular location. So Elite FTS did really great on that. The decal work and actually putting up the panels that you see here, that was also done by me, much like the leg extension hamstring curl machine where I talked about the rack that I put underneath for extra loading. This was an incorporation and a customization that I did after the fact. I loved their machine. I used it all the time. I wanted to make it more, me. I wanted to make it more gym worthy. And now it really does stand out because these panels are quite large. You can get yourself, your colors, and it's really cool. This was a really fun project to work on. But like I said, originally, this is an Elite FTS unit. Now I have a PlateMate here that I use for all of my selectorized machines, and that's what this is. This is a magnetic version of an add-on plate, which you can do in intervals of 2.5 pounds. I have 2, which will allow me to go up to 5. The selectorized as opposed to plate-loaded machinery is a conversation all by itself. What does one do that the other does not? In my opinion, on certain machines, it's almost always better to go selectorized. Now, for this machine, for the previous machine we talked about, it is plate loaded, and I did that simply because the alternative was buying 2 machines instead of 1 at the time. I don't know if they've since changed this, but Elite FTS only offered the combination machine in a plate loaded variation. This one, however, has the alternative to be selectorized, so I always go selectorized if I can help it. But that's what this is. You've got yourself your standard lat pull down, which is right up here up top, seated here, and then down below, you've got yourself your low pulley row, where you can use for horizontal rows. You can do this for any kind of a seated row, anything where you got to put your feet here. I can rig them both together and do actually calf raises or sometimes even belt squat variations if I need. It's an awesome machine, and it's got so many different applications. So let's talk about the hack squat. So this is another one of those machines, just like the Cybex leg press machine that we went over in the previous video, that I hand selected prior to the creation of the gym based on something I had experienced somewhere else. I used this machine when I was training with the NFL. They had one just like this, and I like the feel of it. And I love the fact that it's got the two different variations of the squat, the front squat and the hack squat. Just, again, one way in which you can take a machine that ultimately does 2, 3, or even 4 movements, as opposed to a machine that is only limited to one. That's what you're looking for if you're doing a home gym, a garage-based gym, or any sort of a studio feel. You want machines that are going to have versatility and are going to do more than you originally set out for. Because believe me, as you train, you're going to be looking for ways to expand. You're going to be trying to create new programming, and oftentimes it's as simple as having a machine like this, where I can do a back squat for a 4-week interval of strength training, and then maybe I skip a month, and the next month I go to a front squat variation. It's a different part of the legs, back, and the client gets a different feel for the movement. So that's what this is. I touched on this in the previous video, but for all of our weights, we do use Rogue. I use the Rogue rubberized urethane coated plates. So they're the 6 shooters, meaning they've got the holes all around, because I like having them just for overall versatility on plate loaded machines or anything where you're just taking the weight off, putting the weight on, taking the weight off. Having those holes to grip and grab really does help and make a huge difference. So let's swing around here. Come on back to the to the kettlebell corner. One of the coolest little spots, in my opinion, here at Strict Vision Athletics. Personally, I have a true love for these because I painted them. I got these probably 6 or 7 years ago now, and just started working on them. I had a background painting models as a kid. That's sure gonna generate a couple comments from somebody, but I took it as a challenge upon myself to sort of customize these. I loved at the time where these came from was a company called On It, and they had marketing agreements with Star Wars and with Marvel, and they had these custom made. And at one point, they had all of these available on their shop, and you could get them for $200 to $300, I think. But now we did a video specifically on these in one of our product reviews, and what we learned is that these have actually been discontinued and are now considered collector's items. So one of these, unpainted, just out of the box from a used retailer, is going to run you somewhere in the ballpark of $3,000 to $5,000. So it's outrageous what has happened. Like I said, I got these for $200 to $300 when I first got them. And I only got them because they were cool, and I thought, hey, I'm going to have kettlebells. This kind of fits the atmosphere of the gym I'm creating, and so I'll get them, I'll paint them, and then they'll be just my little buddies that I'll leave in the corner. Since then, I figured out ways, I'm going to light them up with the LEDs, kind of make this little corner here is something that actually kind of gets attraction now, as opposed to just being in the corner and nothing happening. But as I previously mentioned, all of these were originally from On It. Down here at the bottom, you can still get the apes, the monkeys. They are still sold from On It, and you can still get them at their website, onit.com. Here we have something also from On It. Very, very cool and very functional. Definitely garners a lot of opinion and a lot of questions from our viewers, and want to know about what it is and what they do. These are Indian clubs. And Indian clubs can range anywhere from 5 to 35 pounds. I think even now they make them even bigger, maybe even 40 or 45 pounds. But these are capable of doing dozens of different functional movement patterns, all the way from just warming up your rotator cuff to doing heavy squats to doing kettlebell swings, all sorts of different movement patterns you can do with these. These date back to ancient Persia, the technique of using a one-sided club to either generate force or simulate a movement pattern that would later be used in battle. That was the logic behind the creation historically of the steel club being used for training purposes. Since then, Onnit has sort of re-envisioned that and taken it upon themselves to write a full course about it, which I actually took. It's a great, great course. Shout out to John Wolf over at Onnit. They have kettlebell certifications, steel club certifications, mace certifications, all sorts of stuff you can get going over there, guys. If you're looking for external education and continued education in the field, go to Onnit. They got some really good coursework over there. Okay, that brings me to the maces, which is right here. These, just like the Indian clubs, do come in a variety of different weights, shapes, and sizes. Here we have 7 to 30 is our lineup here. We are missing some in-between maces. I simply bought these because at the time I had this storage rack and I'm like, all right, I can buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I'll get 6. And that's what sparked my decision to get those weights. It wasn't anything specific based on how I was training at the time. And honestly, when I originally bought these, I didn't even know how to use them. I just bought them because I thought they were really cool and I thought, okay, I can do some shoulder work with them. But since then, I've definitely spent the time, researched, looked into Onnit, and now they make, I'd say, semi-regular appearances in my training with clients. So that's pretty much that. How are we doing? Should we keep going or should we stop there? You want to stop there? Okay. All right, guys. I think that's where we'll start this part of the series. I know that's gonna get a lot of attention and definitely get some questions. So if you would, send us those questions. Let us know if there's something you see that I missed or if there's something you want to know more about. Anything like that, you guys, just send me a comment. Please subscribe and have a good day.